There we go. And I will let you just specifically said, don't forget the recording. I guess we'll see how many folks join. We've had a pretty quiet week in open source meetings.
Is there a Google Doc for this? I don't seem to have the link in my calendar item here.
There is. Let me share it.
Thank you.
I know we have a couple people from our side that are out as well, or with conflicts. So we'll maybe give people another minute to join. All right. Well, um, feel free to add anything to the agenda. It's pretty light. We can always have a quick meeting as well too, if that works. For project updates, witness. Mostly lately, it has been some minor bug fixes. Kind of a lot of the effort of the team and the time we have for open source stuff is going into the policy working group and some ideas around that space. We did have a PR for a Jenkins tester, which is really cool. And I think between that and a couple of the other fixes, we will probably cut a new release with all of that included. I know that there were some smaller fixes for the some KMS stuff and a few other things. We also got Matthias's PRs for some of the include exclude globbing and dir hash functionality so that we can kind of improve and increase the speed of some of the products and materials attestations. Is kind of at the top of the backlog. And let me just double check if there is anything else on this side. And then just a little bit as well, I think, of the policy logging error messaging was area where there were some improvements. So just capture this in the notes. And oh, Sunil was here, and then I was just about to say hello. On the Archivista side, Cairo, anything? You're on mute.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm working in a feature for Archivista. It's not the first time that I see someone commenting about that. That's the ability to import attestations from existent repository. Let's say a folder or a S3 bucket. You want to basically import it direct to Archivista, not going to the process doing API calls, because you can, if you have 1,000 of policies, can take a time and overhead. So I'm working that feature. Probably next week we'll have a PR for that ready. After that, what I'm going to do, it's there is a bug in Archivista related to the DC envelopes, that the signature key ID in the specification is optional, but we make it required in Archivista. So it's not a big fix, but I will work on that as well. Those are the updates for Archivista. Some yeah, we have some maintenance in the Archivista. We had some releases to enable the last releases. We enabled the database migrations in the Docker image. So yeah, not very exciting updates for Archivista, but yeah, moving on.
Yeah, and I think future work for both of these, on the witness side, the PR from Matthias about the product include and exclude clabbing. We want to ensure that we store that as a part of the attestation itself, so that if you're verifying with the policy and someone excludes a directory you should care about, then you can have a policy failure. But that's going to require a new version of the product attestation, and maybe the materials attestation as well too. And so we need to better actually support multiple versions of attesters and attestations. And then Tom was also working on some improvements to the OCI attesters that would have some schema changes. So that's a couple of good reasons to have improved support for that. And then the Archivista side, sorry, trying to take notes and talk at the same time. I think we chatted about this a little bit last time, is the possibility of, we're trying to balance the parser stores that Archivista offers. Everything is handled for upload synchronously right now. If you're going to parse and process any metadata, that's a part of an attestation, it happens in line before the return about the upload completing or the attestation being stored. There's a couple different parts of this. One is to do some background processing of those uploads. And then the other part is to offload entirely the more detailed processing of the attestations. And we were playing around a little bit with the idea of being able to create messages for a message queue or something else, and send those to an external system or something else to be able to process attestations in whichever way you choose to do that. So that could enable some really cool workflows and stuff. You could get a notification every time an SBOM is uploaded and to a vulnerability scan against DSBomb or something. There's a lot of cool systems you could build out of that, in addition to just parsing that attestation for additional information and storing it on the graph. So that'll be probably design documents or other things around that idea as well too. So, yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned message queuing being a possibility. Have we talked? Has there been any discussion about supporting webhooks as well for those sorts of notifications?
That is a good question. I don't have a good background in like what it would take to actually support that, but anything that we do, we would definitely want it to be configurable and implemented as an interface. And that was part of how I started looking at this, was just kind of a general like message or notification interface that could be implemented then with some sort of pluggable model of sending to, because even from a message queue perspective, from a simplest perspective, it would just be a post to some endpoint of the message content. But of course, not everything always plays together nicely. And in that,
Yeah.
we might be able to support, 75, 80% of message queues or something like that. And then there will be something different that doesn't work that way, or some feature of a message queue that doesn't work if you do that. So being able to implement then more specific things. Webhooks might be another type of interface. I don't know if it would fall in the same one, but we'll have the right. I think the points at which we would want to send messages will be the same for either one. Cairo, I don't know if you've ever implemented things on the other side of a webhook. I've consumed some a little bit, but not.
Yeah, I had one experience, but it was not that deep. Like it was not a service like Archivista that is a storage service. So, but I think it's feasible. Maybe we could start, as you mentioned, John. We could start a design document that we could evaluate what would be better first, like webhooks or message queue. But I think we could have both as well. It's just I mean, it's two different features that we would have. But it's something very interesting for me. At least I have done some work like that in our stuff and in other services as well. Because in my opinion, really, we need to make Archivista asynchronous, or to give the option to work asynchronous, because depending on the organization that we use Archivista, to scale it will be really difficult. So it's something that I could start. I can check if I have enough bandwidth to start it. I could start the design document, and of course I will put Daniel on that design document, the possibility of webhooks as well.
Yeah, it seems like it shouldn't be that. I have not been in the code at all for either of these tools, but it seems like it should be possible to have a generic interface that could create either a webhook or a post to a message queue, depending on the implementation.
And we should do it. I mean, we need to discuss it in the design document, but in a way that also people can just get the Archivista and decide which message queue they want to use, for example, because it's really difficult to us to cover most of the all existent, but we could use at least the most. Like we could have the idea of like in secure system lib, where the people can just contribute with the signer. People could just contribute with the clients, right? Or if you don't have the client, you can just attach it to your deployment, have a small modification. And if you decide to contribute it upstream, you just send it to us and we evaluate it. So I think it's a way to go as well.
Cool. That'll be fun to dig into. The Also, hello, Sunil. I saw you join and then join again and then drop and then come back. So it's good to have you here. We have a pretty light agenda as well too. So if there's anything you want to chat about or if you have any questions, feel free to let us know. The policy working group, most of the folks here were present for the policy working group, but just for the sake of the recording and others who will want to catch up on it. We had a lighter group of people this week, but we're following up on the previous week's work, which was kind of about up-leveling some of the policies, the ability to do things like templating, or the idea of having DSL, a domain-specific language for policies. I think there's still a lot of open questions around that. We spent some time talking about the implications for verifications of policies that have templating, the process of creating specific instances of policies from a template and what sort of effect that has. There's definitely a lot of things around these ideas that the group is considering outside the scope of its responsibilities. And so that'll be an interesting area where I think tools like Witness and Archivista can consider that within the scope of their problem to solve. One of those issues is around policy distribution. If you decide that you're going to instantiate many new versions of a policy from a template, how do you ensure you're using the latest, most up-to-date version? Things like having the tough integration into Archivista and storing policies could be helpful with that. Witness can create policies as well, so or could create policies in the future. It can sign policies today, but perhaps we would be able to support the templating itself as a tool to create policy instances and then store them in Archivista, which would tie into the other part of how you distribute those policies. There's definitely a lot of questions around trust from that perspective of, do you have to trust the person who creates the template separate from the person who creates the policy instance? Is there a relationship between those two? And how do you kind of define that trust? I think that question is probably outside the scope of Witness and Archivista, but we definitely can have conversations about those things. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. That those meetings are on Thursdays. If anybody, I don't know if they're actually on the CNCF calendar yet or not, but if anybody wants to join there's a in CNCF Slack and in Total Policies Slack channel, you can follow along, and we try to post reminders of when the meetings are happening. So happy to share the invite with anyone. Aro or Daniel, is there anything else from those meetings or conversations you wanted to add?
Yeah, middle September, I will do a presentation about Witness, actually Archivista using RStuff or Tough to store policies and attestation in the Open Source Summit. So we'll be, if you see there is a feature that is a little bit in hold there, I will try to finalize to this demo. The idea is to actually, I'm a maintainer of RStuff as well. So my idea is to just add to the Archivista the configure. You can just configure and say, I want to use RStuff. So then you can secure out the DC envelopes inside RStuff, basically for distribution of these attestations and policies. So it's a feature that may be interesting for some folks.
I think that for me, from coming out of the policies meeting, the call to action was to try and actually build out some policies using the proposed solution, I think, right now is basically a Helm style Go templating layered on top of YAML. So the call to action was to try that out and see where the pain points are, and then we can iterate on that design. So in case there's anybody listening who's interested in taking part of that, we can get you the links.
Awesome. All right. I think the only other thing on the agenda is open PRs and current issues. I think everything on this front is in a pretty good state. Just looking at the share my screen quick. I just open these up. All right, so Archivista, the pull requests, looks like we have a dependabot one open. And then I think these couple here are parser stores that are kind of on hold. And these are actually good examples of why we're considering other things. Indexing every single bit of a Git attestation would be a lot to put into the Archivista database. And OmniTrail is something that Frederick has been working on, which is similar to the material attestation or product attestation, but actually creates a Merkle tree essentially of all the files in the directory structure. So then you can do much faster comparisons or diffs between things. If you know a certain directory or set of directories at some level in the tree has the same hash as it did before, then none of the files underneath that has changed. And so we can do a lot of cool things with that. But adding all that information also into the database could be a lot. And so we just want to figure those things out. And then I think the other issue here, we had somebody from before kind of working through some issues. Aaron?
Yeah, I was looking to these parsers, and I was thinking if there is a way. Also, another possibility would be to do like on off, like I want to index it or not, right? Enabling this kind of yeah, but I mean doing the deployment as a configuration of the service. I was thinking about that. Maybe I should comment on these PRs to see what the community thinks about that idea.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. And then the metadata schema one, I think we had some problems with the implementation. I don't think we ever circled back to. But we'll have to see. Cairo, and maybe you and I can chat about that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe we can just delete this one. I mean, cancel this one, and we think and file an issue if someone. We need to have more contributions on top of that to make this decision. Otherwise, it will be a lot of bias from us on it.
Yeah. All right. And I don't think there's any new issue. We got that bug that you talked about, and then Cairo's working on the import. And then we've got a few other things kind of around the tough work that Cairo's been doing as well too. So nothing else more recent than that. On the Go Witness side, we have oh yeah, Tom was going to review this for me. There was in the new version of Sigstore, there was a bump to the gRPC dependency, which meant the way we were consuming it had a deprecated function, and so I had to add some extra changes to the dependabot issue. So I just wanted someone else to review that, and maybe Cairo or Mikhail can take a look. And then we had the Jenkins attester. I was really, I'm definitely biased towards this. I was happy with the this what I thought was the simplicity of the code around this. So for the Jenkins Go, we basically have, this is just all the boilerplate attester type code, defining the interface, which we can use for testing purposes with a test function, and the name type, run type, which is all the things we use for the factory to create attesters. And then basically the set of metadata that we want to capture. And so in this case, mostly it's environmental variables from a Jenkins build job. And then during the attest call itself, we're basically looking to see if it really is a Jenkins environment or not, and then capturing a bunch of this information, and then creating subjects out of it, which is basically just, for, in this case, a subject for the pipeline URL and for the Jenkins URL, which we just calculate a digest of that subject to store. And then the backrefs are a thing that we use for traversing the graph. But, once we have that code, then in Salsa, the Salsa attester, we're basically able to just add a couple of new lines, which is if the Salsa attester is present and has been run, then we can add a specific builder ID for Jenkins. So now not only do we have a Jenkins attester, we also have a very lightweight way to add a Jenkins builder for Salsa attestation as well too, which is, I thought that was pretty cool. And then we automatically generate a schema for it with just a make command. So that was cool. I was happy to see Joshua or Josh able to submit that. And then we got a couple of things, looks like from Cole and Mikhail, that we can get up to date or check on. And then I think the similar sort of thing on the witness side. A couple of things.
I think there. I'm not sure if it's me or John. No.
Sorry.
No, I think John just we lost.
Oh, okay. There's some dead air. I was worried that I'd got called on something. You caught me at a distracted moment.
No, sorry.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, we lost him. John wrote to me that he's having some network issues. Yeah, it was he mentioned that this was the end of the agenda. Yeah, basically he was just reviewing the witness just to finish it. He was checking the issues for witness and pull requests. So we have a work in progress from Tom that is related to the incorrect log lines on the witness verify. That was this issue was a contribution from another person, but there is a PR opened and review and test. I'll check if I can help to review this one as well. And let me check if we have new issues. No. Yeah. PRs hanging. No. Yeah, I think that's all. Someone has something else to share? We can finish.
I don't have anything. I'm good calling it here.
Oh, hi,
Okay.
good morning, good afternoon. This is Sunil.
Hi,
It's been a
Sunil.
while. I joined the Intodo call, so I'm pretty much newbie to Intodo, so I was curious, where should I get started if I need to know more about Intodo Witness?
Great.
I'm mostly in the zero trust working group, security. Work with Frederick as well. So I just wanted to see how I can be part of this Intodo community and learn more. Hey, John.
Yeah, great. Welcome, and it's very good to see new faces here. And yeah, the community is very welcome. Did you join also the Intoto community meetings, or this is the first one you joined?
I think I joined one way back, probably last month or so.
Okay.
When there was a demo, I think there was a demo sometime last month or the previous month. So that's when I joined.
Awesome. Well, I didn't have anything else on the agenda. Anything else folks wanted to chat about? All right. Well, enjoy the rest of your Friday and have a good weekend, everybody.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a good weekend.